Hey guys, Crystal Thompson here with a Simon Says stamp April 2021 card kit. This kit is called the Friendly Florals, and we're going to be making a set of cards with very basic supplies and the kit content, so no extra dies or anything that you might not already have. We're going to be using some of the cotton candy and slate cardstock, the awesome and beautiful stamp set included in the kit, which is the Friendly Flowers 6x8 stamp set. I have it mounted and ready to go on my Misty, and I have a piece of white Neenah 110-pound cardstock as I'm trying to create a nice clean look for this set of cards. So as you can see, I have the largest stamp from the Friendly Flowers ready to go. This is quite large. I want to say this is a good 6-inch stamp set. So you're going to see a bit of a cutoff on this card, but the whole thing comes together really nicely. So we're going to press down onto the left side of this, and I'm going to use my sleeve to really give it a nice massage and rub that stamp onto the Neenah cardstock. To ink it up, I'm using the Simon Says stamp, a solid black ink stamp, which is absolutely beautiful. You can use it to do some Copic coloring, but in my case, we're not going to do any coloring for this card, so it's truly just going to be for some outlines. And this is a no coloring card, so I really think you'll enjoy how quick and easy this is to create. So I did a second version, right? So I did 2 stamps of this. So I'm going to lift it up, and I'm going to make sure that I don't need to restamp this. And as you can see, we have a beautiful clear image that if we were going to color, it'd be perfect, but we're not. So I'm going to bring in my scissors and trim around the image. You can get the matching dies for this on the Simon Says store, so feel free to hop on over and grab it. In my case, I don't have them. I'm going to fussy cut, again, sticking to the kit contents and just making these cards with what we got. So as you can see, I've cut it and it's ready to go. I have a piece of the 12 double-sided sheets of the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Cottage Fields 6x8 paper pack, and this is cut to 5 1/4 and 4 1/2. Then, excuse me, 5 1/2 and 4 1/4. And then I have a piece of the Simon Says stamp cotton candy cardstock, also cut in the same length as the 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. And then I cut it kind of in half, and I like to keep the strips for different things, but as you can see, I'm going to mount that solid cardstock onto our floral, and I'm going to bring in a Simon Says stamp slate cardstock. There's a lot of S's here, and we are going to emboss the thank you so very much. It's a beautiful font. I'm going to be using my embossing and watermark ink, also from Simon, and I'm going to stamp this on the slate. I have already added a little bit of cornstarch to prevent any static or any sticking to it, and I'm holding it down for just a couple seconds to really let this cardstock absorb the ink. And one of the really cool things about this kit is that it comes with 1 jar of the Simon Says stamp cream embossing powder. So it's an off-white. It's really truly beautiful, and it doesn't stick out as much as a white embossing powder. So I cut this into a strip that's going to be the same length, which is 5 1/2, maybe taking a 1/4 of an inch off at the edge just to kind of show off that gorgeous pattern paper. And I'm going to try to line up those sides on the right to make sure it's nice and straight. And then I have the white Neenah cardstock that we had stamped with the Friendly Flowers, and we're going to place it. And as I had mentioned, I had already stamped my Neenah cardstock to match my card base at 5 1/2, so I knew that it would match perfectly and line up really nicely with that edge. And again, a super easy way to create some floral cards without having a color. I have these really pretty crystallized crystals or jewels, depending on what brand you end up buying. So we got Simon brand, we have Studio Cadia, we have Pretty Being Posh, we have Lucy's things. So whatever you decide, even if you have just Nouveau drops, you can place these beautiful glittery drops onto the card, and you will find how easy it is to add a little embellishment, a little bit of glitter, without having to bring in a ton of color or anything else. And that does it for our first card. We're going to move on to our second card, doing some very basic cards with 1 stamp set. For our second card, we're going to do a little bit of coloring, but again, very simple, using that same stamp set from the Friendly Flowers 6x8 and a bit of heat embossing. Thank you very much. Again, the same stamp set. So I'm showing you 2 cards, basic supplies, same stamp sets. On this, I have 2 pieces of cardstock. We have a white piece of Neenah 110 pound, 5.5, 4.25, and 1 piece of the cotton candy, also included in the kit. And I've trimmed that to where I'm exposing the top and bottom, so you would find it's 4.25 and about 5 inches. We're going to stamp the thank you very much with our heat embossing ink, and for this I went ahead and grabbed my white Simon Says stamp embossing powder just because I wanted to really match that background. And I have my heat embossing gun, and I'm going to heat emboss the whole thing, and as you can see, it gets darker as you add heat. So be sure not to leave the heat gun too long, or it will end up melting the whole thing together and losing the shiny part of the embossing powder. Once that's cooled off, I have my Misty ready to go, and I placed the same Friendly Flowers, the larger stamp, and I'm going to stamp both the top and the bottom of this card base, or the card panel, depending on how you decide to make your card. And what I decided to do, I placed my stamp first, or excuse me, I placed my cardstock first, and then I bring in my stamp to make sure that it's gonna fit over that area. And I like to measure that out and then place the top part, which is the lid of it, and stamping that over and bringing in my Simon Says stamp, black ink, also perfect for Copic markers. It's a hybrid ink, so you can use it for a ton of different things, and it is my favorite go-to ink for Copic coloring. I'm going to give it a little massage with my sleeve because it really just allows the flow and for me to be able to press this nice and hard. And then we have a really nice thank you very much ready to go. I'm going to bring in a couple colors of Copic, and I'm going to bring in RV10, and I'm going to color the entire petal with this RV10, and then I'm going to bring in a slightly darker shade to color in the center or the inner part of the petals, and it's going to give it a little bit of shadow. And this is RV13, and we're going to flicker from the bottom of the petal up and then lifting that flicker, and then RV32. And as you can see, as the Copic dries onto our pink cardstock, it really does give it a beautiful effect. And so I'm going to do this for the top and bottom flowers that match the same. And I'm going to come back with RV20, which is a slightly orangey coral color, and it's just going to make it stand out. And again, I'm going to repeat this process onto the top and bottom flowers, and then I'm going to do a little bit of the leaves as well, but the rest I'm not going to color. I have the Starry colors, Gansai Tambi gold, and so I'm using the white gold here with my water brush and just coloring the inner parts of these flowers to give them a little bit of glitz and glimmer and really tie in that white thank you embossing powder, the white background cardstock, and then adding a little bit of flickers to these petals to give them some texture. Feel free to add some more drops, and even if you wanted to color more, I wanted just to do a little bit of partial coloring with these awesome Friendly Flower stamp sets. And then we're going to place the whole thing over that 5.5, 4.25 cardstock using some basic adhesive, flat adhesive. We're not going to raise anything on this card. And we're going to bring in, again, some beautiful embellishments. And in this case, we're going to bring in some of the green embellishments. And these are from Studio Cadia. And they have a mix of beautiful iridescent. We got some clear ones, and then we got some basic. And so you can mix and match on how you place these. You can put them crystal up or face down, depending on the look that you're wanting to get. And I'm using mono Tombow adhesive as my adhesive for this. I added just a couple drops And the reason I like this is that it dries clear, so when you're having those iridescence, it's not going to take away from any of the little glimmer, the little glitters included in the crystal. And guys, that does it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me on this quick tutorial. We made 2 cards under 10 minutes using the April 2021 card kit from Simon called Friendly Flowers. All products will be listed down below. The kit is available now if you want to go grab it, and if you use the links below, I get a small commission for your purchase with no extra cost to you, and it's just a thank you as an affiliate for creating these videos. And please let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Have an amazing day.